Cheers and welcome to Brewery Brewing. Yes, today we're going to answer questions about White Labs training, Yeast Essentials 2.0. Specifically, is it worth it? Who should attend? Why? We're also going to cover the lab practice, which is a third day. It's an optional day, putting your Yeast Essentials 2.0 knowledge to work. We're going to cover distillers, professional breweries / brewers, and home brewers. Is it worth it to them? Why? And who should attend these classes? First, I'm going to go over the very basics. So don't forget, like, subscribe, keep sharing. Definitely appreciate it. If you learn something from this, boom, hit the like, hit the subscribe. If it saves you money, yes, professional brewers out there listening, yeah. If it saves you some money, come on, throw me a bone. So first of all, I'm going to go over the basic topics of the course and lab work. So that way you can understand a little bit more from a higher level before I explain the rest and who I feel should go to this class. Course lectures and labs include the following: an introduction to yeast and fermentation, yeast metabolism basics, fermentation control and sensory attributes, propagation, microbiological control, if I can spit that large word out, yeast collection and storage, setting up a brewery lab, specifically a lab, not a brewery, dilution cell counting, that was one of the ones I was definitely there for, aseptic technique, something I need to get a little bit better at, and plating and media preparation, gram staining, and the word much more is at the bottom if you go to their website, but honestly, much more is, it's kind of like that spray foam. You spray a little bit and it just keeps expanding. Yeah, it's so much more, trust me. I was there recently and I was expecting to get about this much, and I can't even explain or describe how much information I gathered, and we'll be putting a lot of it to test and to use within my own brewing. And I'm just a home brewer / YouTuber, but I do of course talk to a lot of professional brewers, and I may just push their butt, you know what I mean? Go to class. But let's go right into it. First of all, distillation. I'm going to go into distillation first because that's the area I know the least amount about. Okay, I will tell you, when I was there, there were some distillers there and they were very intrigued and they seemed to be learning a great deal. Some of them even went on to the third day for the lab, which was awesome. The key with distillation is that if someone is doing fermentation or brewing some sort of a wort or something for you to convert into a distillation, yeah, it might be important. If you're doing it at a level where, you know, a batch can cost you thousands of dollars, I'm going to say you should sign up. The classes, which I didn't mention earlier, are $250 per day. The first class, of course, is 2 days, so it's $500. The third class is $250, and it's a separate class. We had a little over 30 some students in the first 2 days, and then in the last day we only had 10. But kind of gives you an expectation there. And I'll explain at the end who should take the last class. But so distillation, we're going to set you all aside. I'm sorry, I don't know more about it. I'm hoping to learn more, but I don't. So let's go into home brewers, because professional brewers, you know what? Forget it. We'll just go right into professional brewers. Home brewers, you can listen in. Professional brewers, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're talking $250 per day, so that's $500 for 2 days, and if you take the optional class for another $250, no, I'm not going to have any kind of affiliate link. I will link down below in the description where you can go check out the training. But think about it from this perspective. What does it cost per batch of beer? In a professional brewery, what does that cost? And I'm talking labor, materials, energy, time, loss of revenue. I know, you know, your cost versus actual revenue. Revenue is much higher than the actual cost because your cost is going to come out of that. So hopefully you're profitable. If your revenue is not higher than your cost, you may need to rethink your business plan. But needless to say, if that cost is, let's say, more than $750 for one batch, that's a no-brainer. You should send somebody who you expect to be with your brewery long-term to the class. Bottom line. If that cost is a couple $100 because you're doing nano batches, it's your call. But I look at it from the perspective of, if you learn one thing that saves one batch of beer, how many batches do you save over several years? I just see the return on investment to be kind of at an insane level when it comes to what I spent as a home brewer for training. So bottom line, if you're a professional brewer, you should go to the first 2 days no matter what. If you're like me and you need kind of a reinforcement and to ensure that you fully understand every single thing that you were learning or trying to get from those 2 days of class, sign up for the third day. Not only do you have more time with the instructors, get to ask more questions, you get to try to practice on things in the lab that you really wanted to understand. If you didn't want to be in the lab, you wanted to go down to the brewery and take a look, Craig will take you down there. He'll show you things, explain things to you. And you gain so much knowledge, not just from the class, but also sharing a wealth of knowledge among other brewers. If I had a small brewery, it would be a no-brainer. I would send probably at least one, if not half my staff over time, just to ensure that I had some, duplicity. That way, if someone leaves, I have someone else with that knowledge that understands it and gets it. You can only share so much from a training. You can't give everything verbatim. It's just not possible. So homebrewers, I know homebrewers are sitting there going, man, you forgot about us. No, actually I didn't. If you're new to homebrewing, you're doing 1 gallon batches, you're doing a couple 5 gallon batches a year. Honestly, I don't think it's worth it to you because you're not living in the home brewing. You're not down that rabbit hole. Now, if you're a group of guys, gals, and you're brewing together and you're brewing a lot of beer over, a span of 1 year, one of you probably needs to consider going. Just saying. If you brew and you're brewing all the time, like 5 gallons every month, and you love everything there is to do with yeast, or if you don't love it because it drives you nuts, be a good option too. Definitely would be a consideration. Honestly, it's only like around 9 to 3, a little after 3 sometimes each day. Yeah, you get to eat food. Yes, you get to drink beer. Yes, you hang out with a bunch of other brewers, but the knowledge you gain from the professional instructors within that class, yeah, you get a huge bang for your buck. I mean, the bang for your buck is massive. I was in that class and there were things that of course went right over my head and I tried to understand, but there were other things that maybe didn't directly apply to me. But overall, the things that did apply to me were a huge wealth of knowledge. There were things that I actually knew that now I understand the method to the madness of why you do certain things well beyond what you would imagine. It was like, okay, I understand I do this, but why do I do this? And they're like, well, this is why, because if you don't do it this way, this happens. Or if you don't do it this way, this happens. And I was like, well, nobody ever explained that to me. That's awesome. I appreciate that. And no judgment. I mean, come on, homebrewers. We spray Star San as much as we can, but we're working within the confines of maybe an apartment, a house, or a shared living space. So keeping things as aseptic as possible is close to impossible. Yeah, you do the best you can, but you learn so much. I was just blown away with the knowledge, and I've been repeating stuff. I'm dying to buy a microscope now. I'm dying to buy so many little things. Don't have the cash right now. It is what it is, but hey, it's all good. So, like I said, if you're considering this and I've given you any information that's been beneficial, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Definitely appreciate the feedback. If you got some questions, hit the comments. Until then, cheers, and don't forget, like, subscribe, keep sharing, definitely appreciate it.